I think the steam engines, they sound like they're alive, you know, and as the engine's coming to life of a morning, especially in the winter time, there's lots of steam around and it rises up, you know, the fire warms the boiler up and then we build the pressure up. It's a magic sort of a time. When I was a boy, I lived quite close to the railway station here. I can remember lying in bed, hearing the sounds of the carriages crashing together, the horns blowing, the engines coming up the steep grade into the Gympie station. The sounds would carry on the wind across to where I lived. It wasn't something that I sort of set out to do, to be a train driver. It just sort of happened. I was lucky enough to be taught by some of the older guys that had actually driven steam engines in their day. So they passed down that knowledge. Now it's a matter of passing that knowledge on again. If you want to step back in time and see what it was like in the days that have gone when steam engines were around, this is probably one of the best examples. Heading out from the old station here that's been restored and out through the valley, across the Mary River, up over the hills and looking at the scenery. We only chug along at a slow speed, so we're not breaking any records. It's a nice leisurely drive through the country in the carriages, looking at some of the scenery. You can see a fair way out towards the mountains at the coast. It's quite spectacular sometimes. The stations have got their own character, I suppose. Each station is unique. We go to Ammermoor Station now and we pass through Dagan. They all had their own personality and looked after by the communities out in the valley. When you're driving, you listen to the engine and a change in the note of the beat of the engine, or whether it sounds right and react before it slips the wheels or things like that. When you try and lug a full load of carriages and people up the incline into Gympie, it's quite a steep gradient, and in the wet that can be challenging to make sure that you don't actually stall on the hill and get stuck. When you get to the top of the hill in the wet, you have a bit of a grin on your face and think, well, that was a good run. It does take a lot of volunteers for everything to happen, and it's not everybody's got the glamour job of driving the engine or firing the engine. You know, there's people that help clean stuff and restore stuff, and there's heaps of jobs, and guys come from all over the state to work and volunteer. But we all sort of meet up here on the shift at the Rattler on the weekend. This is probably one of the best examples of engines and rolling stock that's still intact. It's a great day out where you can just come and slow down for the day and take a ride on the Mary Valley Rattler.